can ask questions.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
All right.
Hi, everybody. So we are live. I am honored and privileged that my friend allowed me to come into her dressing room here at Wicked. I am sitting with, I am telling you, this is Broadway elite right here.
Oh.
Broadway elite. She has earned nominees, Drama Desk nominees, you're a Tony Award nominee, countless Broadway shows, too many that I can't even rattle them off, but some of them, You're in Town, Fiddler on the Roof, one of my favorites, Memphis.
And Evita that we did together. That's how we know each other.
Right, that little thing called Evita.
That little thing called Evita.
Yeah, way back when it was completely different.
We were both kids.
We were both both kids.
She was an actual kid.
I was an actual
I was
kid.
not an actual kid, although close to being an actual kid. I was in my early 20s.
So
how old were you?
Everybody, Nancy Opel.
How old were you?
I was 11 years old.
That's exactly what I guessed.
I was 11.
That you were 11.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, I'm going to ask you this.
Okay.
I'm going to ask you if you remember what song you sang for your audition, because I'm going to tell you what I auditioned with. Happy Birthday.
Wow.
We sang Happy Birthday. There were about 20 of us, and my cousin was actually the first to go out and audition. She sang Happy Birthday, and she comes back and she says, I think I got it. And then I was the second to go out, and I sang Happy Birthday. And mind you, everybody, that back in those days, we auditioned at the theater.
On the theater stage.
On the theater stage,
Yep.
at the Broadway theater.
No.
And you don't do that these days.
No, that's been years. You know, in fact, I did not sing Happy Birthday for my child.
They wanted to know if we could hit the high note. That was it.
Yeah, no, they didn't. We didn't sing Happy Birthday. The first thing I sang, because I had 7 auditions for Evita.
Oh, wow.
Because I was a kid, I just came out of school, and they were going like, can she come back and do that stuff again? 7 auditions. So my first audition, they asked us to sing Can't Help Loving That Man of Mine in E flat.
Okay.
And I did. So I sang Can't Help Loving That Man of Mine in E flat, because they wanted that high, like, belting E flat.
Yeah.
And then my choice of song, listen, back then it was not that easy to find, like, pop stuff that was, like, from a show, because they kind of wanted something from a show, but they wanted it to be sort of pop, and I was like, I don't know anything. What am I going to do? You're never going to believe what I did. I'm embarrassed to say what I sang. I sang Home from The Wiz.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And did I ever give a soulful rendition of Home?
It's a great song.
It's a great song.
Great song.
But I mean, you know. So anyway, but then we were done with that once that first audition happened. And then from then on, it was all about, you know, getting the music and singing from the show. So we just kept singing from the show.
But you were the original cast of
I was
Evita,
the original cast, yeah.
and you were just ensemble when you were hired, yes?
Mm-hmm.
So when did you become, this is how I know you, matinee girl?
Well, see, I was second cover, so
Okay.
I was always sort of in the line for playing Ava, but I did not go on. We opened on Broadway. I didn't go on for a year.
Wow.
1 whole year, and then.
And that opened in 1979. It opened
September of '79, and I believe it was September of '80 that Patti LuPone went on vacation for a week, and the matinee girl, Terry Klausner, did Tuesday night. I was supposed to do Wednesday matinee, and I did do Wednesday matinee. It was really exciting to finally get a chance to go on, as you know, a show I'd been working on for an entire year. And I walked off the stage, and the stage manager came up to me and said, "You're on tonight."
Oh.
And I laughed. No, we laughed because I said, "Oh, that's a funny joke." Ha 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 ha.
Because it's been a year.
Because people don't, and people don't do 2 in a row of Ava. No, nobody does that. You know, it's like, ha ha ha. But it was real. Yeah, it was real. I didn't go on for a year, and then I did a 2-show day. That first time I went on.
So in that, I mean, times were a little different back then, I feel. Did you have an opportunity to rehearse with the cast? Did you go on stage with them and rehearse?
You know what? Yes, I did, because you can't do that show without having
Right.
the dressers do the thing with the clothes,
Yeah.
or you'll just die.
Yeah.
So, as I recall, there was a put-in rehearsal, and I believe we ran the show. I was probably the only one in costumes, but I can't really recall all of that. But I know I had, a costume rehearsal, and I'm
Right.
sure everybody else was there. I think it was a full cast put in, but I'm not absolutely sure of that.
Right. Right. So so then you became the matinee girl.
Yep, almost right after that. It wasn't very much longer after
Right.
that I did
And
that.
how did you ever? Because my memory doesn't serve me. Did you take over for Patty once she left?
Mm-mm.
No.
Mm-mm.
They got somebody else in.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Well, who was the first person who came in? Oh, the woman who was doing L.A. Lonnie Ackerman came.
Lonnie.
Yeah,
Okay.
she was, but she had done L.A. and so
Mhm,
and then she
mhm.
came in, because at that point I think, a couple years in there was the L.A. company, and then I think they had a Chicago company,
Mhm.
and I don't know when the tour happened either. It's a little unclear to me. Maybe
Right.
other people remember that.
Right. Oh, it's so funny. I was a mere kid, so I have so many experiences from that
But
show.
of course you do.
I learned a lot of dirty things.
I'm sure. You know what? I am absolutely sure you did. I always say that the theater is not exactly a wholesome place for young people.
It is so not.
No.
They stuck us kids up on the 6th floor.
Yep, I know. I remember that.
And oh god, we got in so much trouble. But what a great time that was
Oh, it was
in theater.
Yeah, it was a great show.
Unbelievable show.
Ran over 4 years,
Yeah.
which is not that long these days. Things run for a really long
Yeah.
time these days. Back then, that was a long run.
Right. So so were you in it for 4 years?
I was in it almost until the end. I left to do the workshop of Sunday in the Park with George.
A beautiful show.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful
and
show.
so I left to do that, and I almost made it back, because right about when we were finishing, they posted notice, and Evita closed. So I got to go to the final show.
Oh, okay.
Which was fun.
Great. Yeah. Now, you went right into Sunday in the Park with George.
Mhm.
So there was no lag time for you.
Well, there was a little lag time, because we did the workshop, and that was still
Just make sure everybody can hear me.
yeah,
Okay.
and that was still like fall of 80, I think, right? Is that right? Or no, maybe not 80, maybe it's 81. I don't 81,
probably,
82.
yeah.
Oh, it must have been, because it had to be
82.
later. It had to be 82 or 80.
Yeah.
82.
Yep. Mhm.
I'm going to say 82. I don't know.
Yeah.
Somewhere around the early 80s. That
Listen, when you have a career like
Nope.
Nancy Opel,
nobody, I don't know, whatever it was. I think I was off for about 4 months, maybe.
not long.
Not very long, and then we went into production,
Right. Wow, what a show that must
and then we
have been.
did that one for probably about a year and a half, I think. I
Mhm.
think that's
And
how it
did
went.
you work with many of the same people that were in Evita? Some, right?
As you know, Mandy Patinkin was in it.
Mandy, love Mandy.
Yeah, and that's where I met Bernadette
Okay.
Peters.
Mhm.
It was really fun and a completely different experience than Evita, because although you missed this part, how it was for me, that was my first Broadway show, and you go, oh, well, this is an original Broadway show, but it had been in London. So the prompt book was sitting right there. Everybody knew, in terms of creative team, they all knew how that show was going to go. And they basically just taught us how the show was going to go. Very few changes
Right.
from London to New York.
Yeah.
So it didn't the only way it felt like a new show really is that we didn't know it, but it didn't feel like a new show in terms of like that going like, oh my gosh, now we have to explore what is going to happen in the second act.
Mhm.
That was my second Broadway show, because that's what Sunday in the Park was like.
Oh, such an enormous, beautiful show. I
But
love
that was my first experience with doing something so brand new, all kinds of changes, all kinds of improv, all kinds of cuts, all kinds of, I mean, there was just a lot that happened in that show. So you learn a lot about, you know, taking your work seriously, but remembering that it is a play and not surgery.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
No, I mean, you have to keep that in, you really have to keep that in mind, because, you know, otherwise, you know, your heart breaks 15 different ways, which it did during that show. But I think it did for everyone. It was just very fraught with stuff, you know, and, you know, ultimately it was a gorgeous show, as you know, but
it can be very emotional. Rehearsing for a show can be very emotionally draining.
Well, this one was because you know, we were in previews on Broadway, and it was not going as well as we had hoped, and you can feel that, you know, from the audience, and we just kept thinking, when are they going to find what we need to do? Is there going to be a magic, you know, the magic potion that comes in and sort of, you know, you sprinkle it over the show and it works, and it did happen, you know, so
it does, and it does, and sometimes it doesn't come together until opening night.
Well, it wasn't quite opening night. It wasn't quite opening night, but I would say we were still had major things changing, you know, in the week leading up to when you go into like press time.
Right. So how many Broadway shows have you done?
15.
15, okay. I was going to say 27, 30.
27. I don't know if anybody could. I suppose you could do that many if you were doing like a bunch of ensemble tracks.
Yeah.
Because you can get out of a show pretty fast. But if you're doing one where you stay for a year, or where you're at least contracted to stay for a year, you might not last that long. But if you do, then you're there. But and also you just have to be like just right for something. Do you know?
Yeah.
So after Evita, everything I ever did after that was principal work and not a chorus contract. So then it becomes harder to sort of like grab a whole bunch more shows, you know.
Right.
So I feel like 15, I'm doing pretty well.
I would say, I would absolutely say. I mean, there are so many people that have to. I mean, I know that you're a coach as well, because you can't. There's no one that can possibly go from show to show to show to show. You would probably crumble, I would think. You have to have some kind of a side hustle, and you coach. You coach. I would assume Broadway. Kids, right?
I don't do kids, but
well, you know,
or at least not very often. But
they're kids to me now. See?
Yeah, I know.
I was a kid to you now, and now they're kids to me.
You know, I love to coach, and I do some singing stuff with people, but I also love to work on sides with people, because I find that they leave that stuff out.
Right.
You know, they'll be like a little bit maybe anxious about doing the sides, or they think it doesn't matter, and they'll be better if they're kind of like, you know, extemporaneous and fresh. Hint, you're not. It doesn't make you better. You have to practice your sides.
You have, yeah. And by the way, Nancy's not only just musical theater. You've done movies. You've done TV.
Yeah, I would say,
but mostly musical theater.
Stage is my thing. I've done a lot of comedy, like plays. You know, like David Ives stuff. I've done. I don't even know how many of his plays I've done. Maybe 8. I don't know. A lot. So I kind of have a little bit of like the Broadway musical side of my life, and then I also have kind of the off-Broadway comedy side of my life, you know, which has worked out nicely, because even those, I mean, it's really rare for something off-Broadway to run very long. I think All in the Timing, which I did off-Broadway, an evening of David Ives' one act, I think I did that for 18 months, which is...
That's long.
That's a long time.
Yeah.
And also had the opportunity to do a couple of off-Broadway musicals, which are almost a thing of the past these days in terms of really getting them to run.
It's hard to get the backing.
Because there was this one that I did right after I did Sunday at the Park with George called personals, and it was down at the Minetta Lane Theater, and that's where I met Jason Alexander.
He's a funny guy.
Yeah, he is a funny guy. We had fun. Yeah, we did a duet where he was Mr. Potato Head and I was his wife.
Oh gosh.
It's a high point, my friends. A high point. But you know, we're still in touch, and Dee Hoty was in that too, and Laura Dean, and it was a fun show. And also, like, we ran 9 months.
Yeah.
Kind of unusual.
Right.
And then I did, fast forward a bunch of years, I did a show called The Toxic Avenger, a musical version of The Toxic Avenger. But that was fairly recent. That was like, 2009.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah, it was fairly recent, where I sing a duet fight with myself, which was really an enjoyable thing.
Oh, kind of like split personality?
Not exactly. I actually played both characters at the same time. No, it was not. No, there was nothing normal about it. It was just I played both characters.
Oh gosh, that must have been great.
It was fun.
I'm gonna have to look that up.
Was
Google
fun.
it, everybody.
Yeah. So yeah. And I did a few, flops. Not many, which is happily, but I did a few.
Does Nancy Opel, do you have to audition these days?
Sure.
Yeah?
I auditioned for this.
Did you?
I did indeed.
I first of all, I can't believe that it's been running this long and they just got you.
Sweetie, I never auditioned for this. 15 years it took so I could grow into the person that they needed me to be to get cast in this show.
And by the way, she plays Madame
Morrible.
in Wicked right now, currently.
We're in my dressing room.
We're in the dressing room.
Yeah.
I'll show you around in just a second.
Yeah, we're in the dressing room.
We're in the dressing room,
Yeah.
and that's why Nancy is wearing this lovely hat.
You don't like?
She's in between shows.
Yeah,
wearing
it's
a little,
real cute.
Yeah, she's wearing her little stocking.
Yeah, yeah. So, but I have, for the last couple of years, I've gone, can I get in on Wicked? Isn't it possible that I could get an audition? I think they'd think I was good if I could get an audition, and I finally did.
Wow.
Right after Labor Day, and I was ready. But yes, I do still audition.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And they've gone through several Madame Morribles.
Several. I don't even know how many, but there's been a lot.
Many.
There's been a lot,
including Carol Kane, right?
And Carol Shelley was first. Lots of people have
Wow.
played the role. Rue McClanahan and Mary Testa, Kathy Fitzgerald. I mean, there've been a lot. Michelle Lee. There's been a lot of ladies. Cheryl Lee Ralph.
This show's awesome. And by the way, Wicked made history the other night.
Yes, it did.
Right?
We had our first African American Glinda go on Thursday night. She did Thursday and Friday night.
And I heard she was flawless.
Oh my gosh, she was absolutely flawless. Yeah, Brittany Johnson. She was amazing. She was amazing, and it was really a very special event. It was great. And I know there are people who would say, high time, long time coming, and whatever. And I totally understand that. And it was also a really magic night in the theater for everyone who was there.
Gives me chills.
Yeah, it was great.
Now, did she just go in on an understudy, or is she in it now?
No. She's one of the understudies.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, great.
No, as a matter of fact, Katie Rose Clark just joined as Glinda, and it's a repeat performance for her. She's coming back. I think she was Glinda. I don't know how many years ago, maybe 5 to 7 years ago, perhaps. And she's back, and now she has a little baby.
Aww.
She has a little 6 months old baby.
Wow.
Yeah,
it's a baby.
Yep. So she's having a little break right now, and
Great.
anyway, yeah. So it's really wonderful. A woman named Jessica Vosk is playing Elphaba, and she's extraordinary. Everybody is. I mean, it's just, you have to be real good to get in Broadway shows these days. You just do. Everybody has to be able to do everything.
Yes.
And that's different than it used to be.
Very different.
You know, because back in the day there were singing choruses and dancing choruses, and you could sort of be more of a specialist, but
Right.
not anymore.
Yeah, you have to do everything.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about Urinetown. Did you enjoy that experience?
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah.
Well, I had worked with the director John Rando before, and this was right before the millennium. So it was right before New Year's. Well, it was actually at a New Year's Eve party. He came up to me and said, "I have this show. It's called Urinetown. Don't make any judgments." I said, "I'm not making any judgments." And he said, "I'm going to send it to you." That's when you still had to messenger things to people.
Mhm.
So he messengered me the show, and they had done it. He hadn't, but you know, it had been done at the Fringe Festival, and someone had made you know, a rough CD of the music. And I sat down to read it and listen to the music, and I got to the cop song. Anybody who knows the show, I got to the cop song and I just went like this. This is genius. This is better than anything I could have imagined.
Mhm.
And I still feel that way about it. It's a really special show.
Right.
And still incredibly relevant. I mean, Wicked's still incredibly relevant.
Yeah.
Come back and see it. If you saw it a long time ago, come back and see it, and you
Come
go,
back.
and people will say, "Hey, did they rewrite some of this show for this?" And you go, "No." Does that give you an idea? No, they didn't. Because I think some of our writers, you know, are prescient about what's in store for all of us.
Right,
So
right,
anyway,
right.
Urinetown was great, and they really wanted to be like an event, sort of a real under the radar kind of event, and make it something you couldn't get into to see. And they managed it. They did a really good job with that. So we did it on 54th Street at it's actually at the police station, 54th Street, in a little black box theater there. And it was a little rough because there was one dressing room that we were all in, and they just literally had a sheet hung between the men and the women. It was a little rough.
Oh, I've had dressing rooms like that.
Yeah, but
Co-ed action.
yeah, but at that point, I don't think anybody who was in the show was used to that kind of stuff. But we did it, you know, and then that also took a number of months for them to find the perfect venue,
Right.
which ended up being the Henry Miller, which is now the Stephen Sondheim,
Okay.
which I went back to over the past couple of years. I have sort of dropped in over at Beautiful,
Mm-hmm.
and
Another musical, by the way, that
Yeah.
Nancy was in.
yeah, I've dropped in over there a few times, which is fun. But it's weird because people go, "Oh, you worked here before." I said, "The hole in the ground is the same, I guess,
Mm-hmm.
but it's a completely new space."
Right.
A gorgeous new space. And boy, it was rough when we were at the Henry Miller. You know, like sticky floors and you know the whole bit. It was
Nice.
It was pretty gross.
Nice. Yeah. Well, I won't go back in
No,
time.
we won't. We don't need to go back in time.
Any times that you forgot a line or you got really nervous?
Lilo. Anytime I forgot a line, you've got to be kidding me. Of course, everybody forgets something somewhere. I mean, you cannot
Do you panic? Like, I'm like deer in headlights. I'm like, oh my God, what's the next line?
No. Well, no. I mean, no. I think I'm trying to think of like the last time I went so dry that I didn't know where I was. That hasn't happened for a long time. Knock on something. Oh my God, I'm knocking on wood because we don't want that. We definitely do not want that. So.
Do you still get nervous?
For what? Like a show?
Going on stage,
like
yeah.
tonight or today or whatever?
Yeah.
No. I mean, you have your energy up, so you're prepared to walk on the stage. But no, I don't feel nervous about it. I still feel nervous just like everybody else if it's an opening night or, it's first preview or something, because the whole idea of like, I don't want to be the one who makes the mistake.
Right.
Is sort of in the forefront of your mind.
Mm-hmm.
But once you sort of get past that and you get into the sort of the run of the show or whatever, you're usually pretty okay. I suppose I think even if someone like really, really fancy came to the show, you're kind of okay about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I was always the one who could see the people out in the audience. I'd look out and I'd go, Barbara Streisand's here. Stuff like that.
Oh my God, that would wig me out.
Yeah. And then one time, Johnny Cash was in the front row of Sunday in the Park with George. I went like this. Oh my God, Johnny Cash is here. And everybody's like, where is he? Where is he? I go, he's in the front row in a black shirt. You can't see him.
No, because they're looking out there.
Like, you can't see him?
You're looking at the back wall.
Yeah, well, anyway.
All right, how about a fun, because, people in theater always have a fun theater story. Actually, multiple theater stories.
Uh-huh.
You have a fun one you can share with us? Something fun that went down that...
Yeah, of course. I mean, yes. I've had so many things happen on stage. I've had clothes fall off.
Oh.
I've been locked out on prop fire escapes.
Oh no.
And not able to get back into the prop apartment. You could see me out on the fire escape, not being able to get into the apartment. Stuff like that, which is unbelievably stupid, but
God.
It's happened. There's the famous story that you can look up Seth Rudetsky interviewing me about
I saw that one.
Falling Down and Evita.
I saw that one.
That's it. It's good, but we don't need to waste our time here.
That's so fun.
And it's too long of a story.
And Seth Rudetsky is a lot of fun.
Yeah, and it's a funny story, and you can look that up. But I would say the same show. See, if you do something long enough, something is bound to happen. Something is bound to happen.
Sure.
That you just go like, oh wow, oh, you know what? I'm going to tell a newer story.
Ooh.
I'm going to tell a newer one because some people don't know this one.
Okay.
All right, I did a show in 2015, Jason Robert Brown, Honeymoon in Vegas. And I was playing Rob McClure's mother. And the entire show, I am actually haunting him from the dead. So I'm dead already. I'm haunting him. So I would always pop up in weird places like in jewelry counters or, in trash cans or something crazy. And so I decided that it would be great if at the end of the show, when I give them my blessing that they should be together, I go like, Betsy loves you, go be happy, Betsy loves you. What I wanted to do was fly out. And they finally, while we were in previews, they go, you know what, yeah, it's worth it, she should fly out. But at that time, the same thing something was happening somewhere else. Because, Foy does all the flying. The company Foy. If you're going to fly, you've got Foy. Everybody at Foy was busy, except one guy, because they were doing, remember Peter Pan Live? Remember that? Yeah. Peter Pan Live was happening, so they had one guy who was a sweetie. He had long curly hair. He kind of reminded you of a better looking Weird Al Yankovic. But there he was teaching me how to fly. And so we practiced one day and then we put it in the show the next day. And so they put me in the harness and blah, 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 got in the harness. So the first night I went on, as I said, we were already in performance. We were in previews. I'm hanging like 30 feet in the air, right, behind the scrim, waiting to go, because it goes zzz, and then it goes zzz, zzz, off. So I'm waiting, and I'm going like, I'm okay, because I'm scared of heights too, which was hilarious. And I'm up there going like, oh, now if we were scared, then I was scared.
Wait,
I'm
you
like,
suggested you should fly and you're afraid of heights?
I am afraid of heights, but I knew for the show, it just had to be. So I was like, oh, right. Zzz. And I come down, and out behind the proscenium, my hand sort of ticks the proscenium like this. Tick. And I went like this.
Oh.
And I'm falling forwards, but slow. And I can't, there's nothing for me to grab because all the wires are behind me.
Oh, God.
And I find myself completely upside down, like 15 feet in the air. And I just kept singing, Betsy loves you. Go be happy. Betsy loves. And all I'm thinking, I'm not even scared at this point because I'm going, you're wrecking the show, you're wrecking the show, you're wrecking the show. There's 20 seconds left, and they're going to have to stop. They stopped the show. They had to stop the show. And then you go,
oh, man.
Yeah, and they turned me back the right way and unhooked me. And they go, Nancy Opel, ladies and gentlemen. I'm like, yeah.
Nancy Opel.
What an idiot I am. And then they do the last 2 lines of the show, swear.
That's hysterical.
Yeah, and so
that's
that was
show business, folks.
Actually, if you go on YouTube, you can find that too. You can actually see me do that nonsense if you were so inclined. Oh, by the way, I'm wearing an Elvis outfit.
That is great.
Don't even ask.
That is, well, it's honeymoon in Vegas, right?
Yep.
That's great. That is fantastic. I love it. So, any advice before we wrap this up to those aspiring to be in a musical theater world?
Well,
and how do you sustain a life? And how do you?
I can't help too much on the how to sustain a life because you just don't know how it's going to go.
You don't.
It's
not everybody makes it.
It's really, really hard to get a break and
have a backup.
Oh well, yes.
And Nancy, you crochet or you knit? You knit, right?
That's knitting.
Yeah, she knits. That's her
Now,
backup. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, right. I would have to be a heck of a prolific knitter to actually. I could pay myself 1 cent an hour.
She's knitting socks.
I am knitting socks, but I would say the most important thing is to be completely prepared for your auditions. And I know that sounds like it's beyond basic, but it's absolutely true. You need to do that because a lot of people, there is an underlying fear that, but what happens if I'm completely prepared? I really know my songs, I've really been working on them, and I've really worked on my scenes, and I know what I'm doing, but let's say I do the very best I can, and I still don't get it. Does that mean I'm no good? Because that's something you have to really look at. You know, you go like, can I accept that? Right. And I think I've had a lot of people come in and they sort of make excuses for like, oh, I was tired, or I had the flu, or I had a cold, or I had a sore throat, or I just didn't get enough rest, or I was hungover. The millions of excuses people have for why they feel like they didn't do the best that they could on whatever day. The thing is, you just have to feel like when you step in the room, you do the very best you can. And I'm not saying that that's necessarily going to get you the job. I've done the best I could a lot of times and not gotten the job. But that's where you have to start. You have to start at, I did the best I could, because at least then you can be proud that you go, you know what? They wanted something else, but I did great. Because if you don't give yourself the kudos, how do you expect to get any from anybody else?
Right.
And there's going to be plenty of times that you don't get anything from anybody else. And you have to be able to sustain yourself and feel good about yourself. And it's not just based on the next job you get. Yeah. That's a really key element to it. And that's
Great
also
advice.
A key element to longevity. You just go like, I don't know what's going to happen next, and I have to be okay with that. And also feel good about myself no matter what.
Right.
So that's it. That's my advice.
Excellent. I love it.
Yeah.
Should we give everybody a little tour of your dressing room?
Okay. If you want. I mean, it's just a dressing room.
Do you do your own makeup?
Yeah.
So you don't have a makeup girl.
No.
You just do your own. You do your own wig and everything. And
Well, they put on my wig.
they put the wig on.
They put it on, but I have to do my own prep. And then I they taught me how to do the makeup, but yes, it's all the same. So I mean, the best part is looking at the costumes, probably. I'm just gonna stay where I am, and you can walk around. If you
Okay, well, I'm
Let's
going to
do that.
walk around like this.
Yeah. You do whatever you need to do. But I think if we both
Lift
get
it.
up, we'll just get in each other's way.
Yeah, so I'm going to do it like this
Yeah, there you go.
because we're already like this. So these are all the costumes. And by the way, I didn't plan this. I'm wearing
You're
green.
kind of wearing Morrible green.
Yeah, I'm wearing green, and I got my nails done yesterday
Very nice.
in Wicked.
Very nice.
Wicked by Essie, yeah.
Yeah.
So here's Madame Morrible.
Yeah.
You play a lot of madams and ladies,
Yeah, okay,
I noticed.
Okay. We're gonna talk about Queen Adams. All right, but you know those green? Those are green feathers. You should point out those are green feathers.
Where are the green feathers?
Yeah, those
Oh,
are
wow,
green
here.
feathers.
These are green
Yeah,
feathers.
those are feathers. Some people think it's fur from the
Oh,
audience,
yeah,
but
look at
it's
that.
feathers. And
That's
each
cool.
one of those is individually curled.
Wow, look at that. Do you see that?
Individually curled ostrich feathers. They're curled someplace in France.
Wow,
This is
wee
what they tell me
wee,
anyway.
individually curled. These are
Yeah.
gorgeous. Look at
Yeah,
this.
thank
Look
you.
at these gorgeous costumes
Yeah,
that
they're
Nancy
really-
gets to
yeah, they're
wear.
really, really
Anyway, that is the dressing room.
That's my
Yes, I
dressing
am.
room, and I put my makeup on over there.
I'm really here.
Yeah, and I sit here and I knit my socks.
And so let's put this back up just so we can wrap it up, so I don't have to be holding it. What do you do to prep? Do you do like lots of vocal exercises, or
No, not in
does
this.
the company?
Not in this show.
No.
No.
Oh, now we're crooked.
Since this really isn't a singing role, it's very little singing.
Mhm.
So I warm up. My warm up is really more a speaking warm up. You know, I just do like that kind of stuff, just to get it buzzy and going and everything like that.
Huh.
Because they really don't want me to sing well.
Right.
Seriously, when I auditioned, because I had to do a little video kind of like this, and they go like, "Don't sing, just don't sing," and I went, "Don't sing."
Wait, let me see if I can do
I
that.
got it. Yeah, but I got it like right? I said, I got it. Don't sing. I'm right with you. Yeah, because it's really more like almost like Rex Harrison singing. It
Right.
really is.
Right.
So.
Oh, I loved this. Thank
Oh, I'm
you.
glad, Lilo. Thank you.
Thank you. So yeah, again, Nancy Opel, everybody. And if you missed the beginning, of course you can go back. But yeah, I was a kid. She was a kid. We were in Evita together. That is how I am here. I reached
So
out. And thank you so much.
No, I'm trying to think. How many years older am I than you? Like
10,
11?
11.
Yeah, 11.
Yeah.
You look good for your age, girl.
So do you, girl. Yep, but I sang Happy Birthday for my audition.
Yeah.
With good old Harold Prince.
Yep.
Yeah.
He's doing great.
Yeah, he's still doing well,
Yep,
right?
He sure is.
Yeah. Did you ever do another show with him?
Yeah.
You did.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I've done several, in fact.
Yeah. He's the man.
Yeah, he is the man. He really is.
How old is he now? He's like 90, 89,
Yeah,
90?
No, he's over 90. But he's in great shape,
Mm-hmm.
and he still goes to the office every day. I mean, he's serious.
Amazing.
No.
It's amazing.
Yes, he is amazing.
God bless him.
Yep.
Let's do another Harold Prince show.
Oh, I'm sure he'd be happy to.
Yeah, what an amazing experience. Anyway, thank you so much. I want to give thanks to my friend here, Nancy Opel. I hope you will go back to the beginning and watch the whole interview. And thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks for schlepping into the city to come talk to me.
Absolutely. I love
All right.
coming to the city.
All right, time for dinner.
Yeah, she's got to go to dinner. She has another show to do, everybody. Thank you so much.
Bye,
All right, we're going to
everyone.
say goodbye here. Thank you so
Bye.
much for tuning in. Bye. Thank you for watching another Live with Lilo. Bye.